All right, everyone. Your host, Cy Smith, coming to you on the fourth Saturday of the month. It's a relief for me, always the fourth Saturday of the month. It's a big build up, and then it's a relief once it's all said and done. But just coming to you guys every summit is so important to what we need to do as Black people all around the world. This is the fourth Saturday of the month. It is October 25th. Next week will be November 1st on the Saturday. So this is it for the weekend in October, the 10th month of the year. Code BS4, Blue Saturday, fourth Saturday of the month. Zip code 60649 has the duty. Miami, Florida has the national duty. Zambia in Africa has the African duty. We have Park Forest and Four Heights has the South Suburban Illinois duty. And Mississippi, we have several people down in Mississippi. I'm gonna be talking about who has the duty today. The reason that's important, what I just did, is so that you guys know jurisdiction wise, we're sharing time. So that way everyone has their turn. So Holly Grove, Bentonia, Hazelhurst, DeKalb, Mississippi, Walnut, Mississippi, and Jackson, Mississippi. These are the files for Mississippi. I'll be going over that here shortly. So the purpose of the summit, for those who this is your first time tuning in, National Block Club University, November 20, 1994 is our birthday. So we're coming up on 31 years this November 20th. Our philosophy is very simple. We want to stop this shooting and killing of Black people in Black America, but we recognize that we won't be able to do that without addressing all the underlying issues that lead to us shooting and killing each other. And so from that, it birthed a whole movement of block by block listening. And then listening, we're hearing all the angles on what's important: education, safety, senior citizens. And with that in mind, we took all that and we molded it into a structure and a system that will allow us to make sure everyone's thoughts, ideas get heard and have layers of support. One of the key ways we do that is what we call CATS, CATS. That's conventions, awards, tours, and the summit. This is the summit here. The summit should be held on tour in South Shore. Our trip with the teenagers should have been to Miami, Florida on tour, but we're having it on Zoom here, and I should be joined by Charles at 4 o'clock Central Time. The last names that should be on today is last names that begin with the alphabets P, Q, and R. You're probably only going to have Charles Robinson on here, and I'm perfectly fine with that. For those who don't know, I'm the type of leader that don't look for external for validation. So it could be no one on here, and I'll still be excited and press forward because it's about the obedience to the Most High, to the Creator. So having said all that, I'm going to start 3 and it runs to 5 o'clock. So it's 2 hours. We got some breaks built into that where you'll be able to take a break with me if you choose to. But if not, it's recorded and you guys will be able to watch it later, play it back, send it to other people. And we do think Blacks all around the world should pay attention to the summit. These are global summits. So what we're going to talk about applies to Black people all around the world. All right. So with that intro out of mind, give me 1 second. I want to make sure that we are on YouTube, that is recording, so that I don't get into too much talking and you guys won't be able to play it back. So let's do that first. There it is. Nope, that's old. That's old. There we go. It is. Let me press play. It might give us some background noise. I'm gonna come out of it if it does do that, so that I don't get into too much talking and you guys won't. It works. So let's back up out of this and let's get started. Let's get going. Thank you guys. Okay. So here's how this works. I would take a notepad and pen, pencil if I were you. It's going to be a lot of information coming at you, various topics and everything. So that way you can kind of flow with us here. The first thing we always do is open up with prayer. This is in person and online. I've already done that part. And then so now we get into the agenda. So this is what the agenda looks like. It goes from 3 to 5. So it's a lot of topics to cover. So we open up with roll call, 3:05 p.m. We talk about the good news reports, 3:10 p.m. We get into 3:15, the rural report. So we're going to hear about rural Black America. Then we go into safety and young people. 3:20, we hear about the violence report. I'm going to read some of that stuff. 3:30, we go into our missing persons. That's a big deal. And that is coming up in January, the convention on missing persons. We talk about economics and construction at the 3:40 mark. We're going to go over our spending. We're going to go over taxes and ideally what should be happening. In this section, we'll talk about the possibility of losing food stamps, SNAP in Section 8. 3:50, we're going to go over the construction teams 5, we call it, and what we can do to keep those dollars in our community. 3:55, we go over the name your 4, which is you being accountable to you and your family about spending money with your people, just like Chinatown, Greektown, Italy. Then we switch over at 4 o'clock to education and education, hunger, and health. Charles will be joining us at that time, should be. So at 1600 hours or at 4 o'clock, we'll be going over careers, we're going over schools, we're going over the awards. That's get us to 4:15. Then we're going to talk about teachers. That's a big deal. All professions come with teachers instructing them. Then we get into the policy and legal accountability section. This section, we're going to be going over the government report cards. We should be evaluating our politicians we pay money to. At 4:25, we'll be going on laws that's on the books that we should know about, potentially going on the books. Then at 4:30, we go over voter registration. 4:40 is the summary, open session, whatever you guys want to talk about. At 4:45, I'm going to switch gears and talk about the G20. China is our G20 member country on duty today. 4:50, we go over the Gary, Indiana conventions. 4:55, we close it out with S, T's, and U's next month, starting the whole month of November, and we'll have that summit, which will be November 22nd. Then I just thank you guys for joining us. All right, so that's the agenda. You have it there. As I stated, we're going to start out with the roll call. So as I do this roll call, I want you guys to just kind of know who should be on here. And listen, Black people are under a lot. And so I give grace to Black people all the time because I know I live it, what it's like to be us in this environment. So when people don't join, I'm perfectly fine with it. But let's go through the roll call real quick. And this is also the section you guys can skip if you listened to these before because it can be long-winded. But I want people to know the structure. So zip code 60612. These first 6 zip codes on the west side of Chicago. 60612 is linked to Boston, Massachusetts. Is linked to East Garfield Park is the community name. Boston, Massachusetts is linked to Ghana in Africa, and they're responsible for all our scientists, chemists, and biologists. We don't have anyone that we expect to be on from that zip code whose last name begins with the alphabets P, Q, and R. We do got Superstar Thay there in that zip code. I did update with her. She's a big supporter, always donating to keep this movement going. So we do have representation in the zip code. Every third Tuesday of the month is there once a month duty day. 60623 is North Lawndale in Chicago, linked to Los Angeles, and is linked to Senegal in the continent, and they're responsible for all things entertainment, both from musical to sports, acting, film, all of that. We have spoken to our LA person, Miss Olivia Tenson, superstar. Next month is the STs and U's last names. We do always in touch with North Lawndale every Tuesday, but we got some real superstars there. No PQs and R's jump out at me from North Lawndale, 60623. Then we have 60624 zip code. That's Garfield Park. Been on the phone with superstars in Garfield Park, that what they do over there at the Garfield Park district. That zip code is linked to Atlanta, Georgia. It's linked to Sierra Leone and Africa, Brother James out there, Sierra Leone. And every second, well, it's linked to all police, firefighters, and military veterans. And we have been in touch with our superstars in those arenas. In 60624, we got Sandra Brinson is a key person over there. We don't have anyone PQ and R last name from that zip code over there. And we are in touch with Quentin out of Atlanta, Georgia, Benani. So superstar Ashley Rogers, she's up 60 miles north of Atlanta. Been in touch with her as well. 60639 zip code is North Austin in Chicago. It's linked to Memphis, Tennessee, where the National Guard has been deployed. It's linked to Nigeria and Africa. That's the Nigerian flag there. Shout out to Ishola. Is linked to all judges and poets, people that's in communication. That's what that zip code manages for us. 60644 zip code is linked to South Austin. 39 is North Austin. This is South Austin. Austin is the largest neighborhood in Chicago. South Austin zip code 60644 is linked to St. Louis, Missouri. Tiffany Relaford, we were supposed to talk to you. We're going to try to talk to you on Tuesday just to give you an update. Ideally, Tiffany will be on with us because this is Alphabet's PQ and R's Global Summit. But I didn't prepare and let her know. So St. Louis, Missouri representing on here. We also have them linked to Ivory Coast in Africa. And then they manage all our lawyers. So that's their role, is all our lawyers. Excuse me. All right. Last zip code, 60651 on the west side of Chicago. That zip code is linked to where it's called Humboldt Park. Some people call it North Garfield Park because of the racial part. North Garfield Park would be for blacks, whereas Humboldt Park is more Puerto Rican. But that zip code manages all things dealing with chefs, restaurants, and caterers. They're linked to Birmingham, Alabama. Shout out to Leandria out there in Birmingham. Shout out to in Gate City. We got our superstar out there, our brother, our elder out there in Gate City. Then we have them linked to Western Sahara in Africa. Western Sahara would be where phosphates are the most plentiful. That's what allows our food to grow. So we're going to need that zip code and this African link. So that's the roll call. We do got Mr. Pruitt over there. He's an elder, so he don't use this technology. He's in that zip code. Ideally, he'll be on right now from that zip code. Moving over to the south side of Chicago. Remember, Chicago is the third largest city in America. So this may take, a little bit going through these zip codes, but this is important for the rest of the world to see how big Chicago is to have 20 zip codes with us in them. 60609 zip code is the New City neighborhood. It's linked to Detroit, Michigan. It's linked to Ethiopia and Africa, and they manage all our tradespersons, carpenter, bricklayers, plumbers. In that zip code, we got Ken Atwood, Reverend Ken Atwood, superstar over there. We did meet someone else. We haven't fertilized that relationship enough, but we do have someone on deck in that zip code. In Detroit, we always in touch with superstar Rita and the Big D. And then we have no one in Ethiopia to send our pennies to Ethiopia too. Then we're moving on to 60620 zip code. That's the Auburn Gresham neighborhood. That neighborhood is linked to Norfolk, Virginia. Is linked to Egypt and Africa, and they manage all our veterinarians, the whitest profession in America. So that zip code, anyone that have pets, this is your zip code, and they're on duty every first Friday of the month. 60620 is on duty every first Friday of the month. 60609 is every fourth Monday of the month. All right, then we moving on along, and we're not expecting anyone from 60621 to get on. Then we got, and I should have said this under 60644. We lost our superstar Yvonne Pugh out of that zip code. And this being PQ and our last name, want to give condolences and thank you for the time God gave her here with us and the impact she had. All right, 60629 zip code is the Marquette Park neighborhood. That's where Dr. King came and got hit with a brick and said he hadn't seen racism like this nowhere. He'd been around the world. So that was a very big indictment on Chicago for him to say that back in the late 60s. So that's a big deal. Then we move. So that zip code is linked to Washington, D.C., another place, National Guard, like Memphis is. Washington, D.C. is linked to Djibouti in Africa. And they manage all things dealing with business owners, risk takers. That's what that zip code does. In that zip code, we got quite a few people. Governor Deborah Pryor, not sure, been trying to reach Deborah, not sure, hope all is well. Haven't been able to reach her though, so ideally she'd jump on as well. And then we have several other people in this zip code. This is one of our strongest zip codes from a leadership standpoint. So we'll see if they jump on. It is twice a year that we ask P, Q, and R's to get on. Then we're moving on along to 60636 zip code. That zip code is linked to San Diego, California. Our superstar there is Governor Denise King. It's linked to Somalia in Africa. It's linked to San Diego, California. Superstar Larry Bird out there, Cornelius Browser in San Diego. And they do interact with Governor Denise, so that's a good thing. And then the final zip code on the south side is 60652 zip code. That zip code, the governor moved away, so we got to figure that zip code out. But every second Friday is their once a month duty day. That zip code is in the Ashburn Wrightwood community, and they're linked to all things politicians, elected officials. They're linked to St. Paul, Minnesota. Every second Friday is their duty day, and Kenya is the African country that they send their pennies to. All right, last region of the South Side is the Southeast region. So we go 60615 Washington Park. That is covered by Governor Joe Murrows. He's the governor. It's linked to New Orleans. It's linked to Congo and Africa, and they keep the list of all our travel agents. Not expecting no one from that zip code to be on. We had 60617 led by Karen Barnes, the governor. That zip code is what they call Calumet Heights neighborhood, Hill, and then they're linked to Kansas City, Missouri. They're linked to Tanzania and Africa, and they keep the list of all our teachers. Then we're moving on along to 60628. That's Roseland. Charles Robinson is the governor there. He will be getting on at 4. That zip code is linked to Dallas, Texas, linked to South Africa, and they keep the list of all our nurses, pastors, and truck drivers, people that serve others. And every third Wednesday is their duty day. Then we had 60637. We should have that governor on, Claudette Reddick, last name R. This is PQs and R's. That zip code is linked to Milwaukee, Wisconsin. It's linked to Zimbabwe, superstar Salul out there in Zimbabwe. Lady G for South Africa. Sorry about that, Lady G. But Salul in Zimbabwe, they're linked to all things dealing with graphic designers, architects, paint, photographers, DJs, those artistic skill set people. That zip code manages that list. And every first Wednesday of the month, they're on duty. Then we move over to 60619. That's the Chatham zip code. Very stable zip code back in the day. That is led by Governor Erica Dunn. That zip code is linked to Philadelphia. It's linked to Angola in Africa, and they keep the list of all our detectives. We got 2 Black detectives on this network, and I love having them on board. And they both send in $1, so I love that even more so. And then every second Wednesday is their once a month duty day. 60643 zip code is kind of a bougie zip code. Sorry if you guys are offended. Much more stable. A lot of police firefighters that work in the city that live there. That zip code is linked to Botswana in Africa. Is linked to Cleveland in Ohio. Is linked to all our doctors and our dentists. And then every third Wednesday of the month is there once a month meeting. Not expecting anyone from that zip code to be on as well. Then we move on to 60649. Now this call should be packed with 49 because that's where the whole tour is at, meaning we should be on the ground in that zip code. However, with everyone got stuff going on, we weren't able to secure a location. My fault. I take the blame for that, but we need to be in person and not just on these Zooms. People would get to know each other differently when they in person. So this was a big ball drop. Hopefully next year, you guys in that zip code are already locked down the location for the 4th Saturday in October next year. But that zip code is linked to Miami, Florida. It's linked to Zambia and Africa. That's why the flag is right there. Zambia and Africa is linked to all things dealing with sales and marketing, people that's very assertive to get the deals closed. And every 4th Saturday of the month, which is today, that's when they had their once a month meeting. And the final one is Bronzeville, 60653 zip code. That zip code is linked to Gary, Indiana, Namibia in Africa. Shout out to Brother Nelson out there in Namibia, and 60653 being linked to Namibia in Africa. And they manage all of our book authors and as well as all of our writers and administrative clerical people. All right. That's it. We are at the 320 mark. So I kind of went over, but I knew it was important to get the frame out there for people who may be watching for the first time. So let's go right into the good news. Here's what I'm gonna say right off the bat. But the good news is, and I go into detail when we get to that section. But in our 30-year history, we never been where we are today. And where we are today, we're on our pathway with our 1,000 people electronically sending a $1, which is ground zero for us. 1,000 Black people in agreement changes everything, everything. And we're almost there in terms of launching out. And just so you guys know, anyone that follows us, that's engaging us, I'm training our people to reach out, see if they're on social media, and let them know we're gonna just ask for the $1. They can of course say no, but we're just gonna ask for it, and see if people willing to do it, and then we'll monitor from there. But to call, stop, meet, it just takes us away from fulfilling this destiny, this purpose that we have. So that's the good news to me. It's sad the atmosphere, how many people are worried and stressed right now. So that part is not as good. Hopefully this video gives you some inspiration, because we're going to talk about solutions and things you can do to ease the pain, ease the pain. All right, so let's go to the rule reports. And before I do that, I think it's important that I explain to you guys kind of what that is, or why that matters so much. So most Black people who are in this country, we're the strongest in the South, in the South. And so anything out to Kentucky all the way down to Florida, and from Texas to the other side, the Atlantic Ocean, that's where majority of Black people are. That's just, since we was brought over here, that's where we took root at. And so all of us living outside of that, we're kind of exposed because our base is down there. But Mississippi is the blackest state out of 50 states in all of America. And so we took a strong interest in Mississippi back in December of 2018, and we've been working diligently ever since, because of that, Mississippi being that important. We think that's our sanctuary state as Black people, where you get out of jail, you got to get back on your feet. You know, you can head down to Mississippi, and housing is there. You'll be able to earn stipend, earn money, and get your life where you want to be. Then, of course, you can redeploy and go anywhere and that you want to go. But at least you know you can always, if you fall on hard times, Mississippi will be there to pick you up. And that's how we want people to look at it. So I want people to look at this document I'm about to show. And I'm gonna point out the bottom part of Mississippi. Then I'm gonna go into the tragedy that struck and why that's important to us, why we should care about that as well. So here we go. This here is today's agenda, you guys. This is what, no matter what, I had to work on today, this whole day. So it says the global Black system. The code is BS4. That's Blue Saturday. This is the fourth Saturday of the month. It says youth habit 60649. I already briefed you on that. It got 10 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 6:30, and 7 o'clock meetings. Those are some of the blocks that those meetings will be on. You can zoom in, you can see that. I gave her here. Okay. Miami's Coconut Grove, but the whole city of Miami is on Once My Duty. Coconut Grove is just the specific neighborhood that today is their day to kind of lead, guide, and direct the rest of Miami. The white suburb is Hanover Park. The Black suburb is Park Forest and Fort Heights. So if you remember, I showed you that, or I told you about that. And I also have their newsletters. I'm going to put this up so you guys can see that, because I do think that would help people to kind of see. I'll put it up once I go get done with Mississippi. I'll show you guys that. All right. Then we go to Africa, Zambia. That's the Zambia flag flying behind me there. And then let's go over why I brought you this document. Mississippi, the most important Black state in America. 10 o'clock, Holly Grove, Mississippi. As you can see there, I'm going to zoom in so you guys can see that. 64% Black. So that is 1 out of 6 people is Black in Holly Grove. In Bentonia, 50%, half and half, right? At 2 o'clock, Hazelhurst, 77%. So that's all the way Black. DeKalb, 4 p.m. DeKalb is 75%. That's all the way Black. Then we go down to Walnut, Mississippi, only 18%. So we behind possible enemy lines there if we're dealing with people who haven't reconciled with their past. So that's a thing for us to monitor and watch in Walnut because of how low the numbers are. And then, of course, Jackson, Mississippi is the blackest city, blackest small city we have at 82%. So that is a Black city there. So let me take that down. I want to show you guys kind of the Park Forest stuff. Pull this down. Okay, here we go. So I'm not showing people phone numbers on here. Let me cover these two names up here. Okay, so here we go. It says Park Forest newsletter, and it says Park Forest at the bottom. No, up top it has 4 Heights. Okay. And what we do with this is just like all them other towns, we go and capture the news stories, what's happening in those towns, and we get that in our newsletter. So that way, when we meet people from those jurisdictions, they can see we've been following their neighborhoods for however long we've been following. All right, so let's talk about Mississippi. We had a lot of people come in town who's from Mississippi for homecoming. From what I understand, they do this every year, so it's not a big deal. However, this year, tragedy struck, and we had 12 people killed, double that shot and injured while running away from a homecoming game and the after parties. This is our sanctuary state. We're trying to convince Black people that this is our ability to have a state where 40% of it is us. And instead of running away from it, we want people to pour into it like people did for homecoming weekend. These type of news stories don't help us. And that's the danger with it, is it will make people think twice about going. And I just want to make sure we don't drink that Kool-Aid. We gotta anchor in, close ranks, as we say in the military, and find a way to invest heavily in this city, in this state, in each of our cities. So what we've done on our part is we've went, and this is my Mississippi folder here, just so you guys know how committed we are. So this is Mississippi right here, and it's 108 towns in Mississippi, from Brooksville to Cusco, Greenwood, West View, Holly Grove, Crosby, Woodsville, Flora, West Point, you name it. It's 108 towns that we're tracking and keeping up with what's happening, and most importantly, getting to know the people who live there. I've been blessed to meet 2 people in Rolling Fork, or in Leland. The shootings happened in Leland, Heidelberg, and Rolling Fork. And you guys may remember Rolling Fork. We was able to raise a little money to help the victims out there during the hurricane, the tornado that hit 2 years ago. So right now we have a queen, and she has children inside of Leland, and we met another person who ran for political office. So she means she knows the lay of the land, and now we're friends with them on social media. So that's a big deal, because anytime tragedy strikes, that's our opportunity to meet the people there and see if we can coordinate together and work together. So that turned out good news, and it came from Brother Maurice. Shout out to you, Maurice, for that connection. But that's how we take a bad situation like shooting, killing, robbery, get to know the people, and make it a positive one. So I'm really grateful for that. We're going to make sure that our superstars in Leland connect with Lily inside of Jackson, superstar Yakima in Mount Bayou, Keisha all the way up in South Haven. So we're going to make sure Mississippi people know each other, because we need them to know each other so we can, get them traveling up to Gary, Indiana. All right, 328. So you guys have time to look at this document here, so you can kind of see. Now, Gary, Indiana is our ground zero that we want people traveling up here to, I think it's this one, travel up here to help us grow the economy here. This is the South Suburban one. We want the Mississippi one. So let me go back to the drawing board there. Let's see here. Here we go. Right there. All right, so this here map of Mississippi, next to it in yellow are the types of conventions. So you got everything from farmers convention, photography, police convention, military convention. We're going to go over the conventions later on at the end. But all of these towns in Mississippi, we want to help them using our structure to raise money so that their people can get up to Gary, Indiana, to one of these 48 different conventions. The beauty with that is we're going to be raising money through our $1, 1,000 people donating $1 to match that money, so we can ensure people are able to start traveling out of Mississippi up here, and vice versa. We can get our people down there. We want to get that exchange just like the other people are doing foreign exchange. We want to have our version of exchange with our people going. And this is going to build a local economy. It's going to reinforce the local economy because people, where they travel, they spend money. So as you can see here, these are the names of leaders we have in each one of those towns: Superstar, Dorothy, and Durant. We got Etta and Greenwood. As you can see here, Jerry and Macon, Shabrandra and Shoqualik. I know I'm butchering those names. We got Ruthie and Drew. We got Mike Perkins, his connection in Grenada. We got Shabilla, superstar to Natchez. Carl, superstar to Tachula. Brother Robert owns a gun shop down there in Gulfport. Crystal Fayette out there in Fayette. I mean, I already talked about Lily Williams. Tanika, that's who I just met because of this tragedy in Leland. All right, so I just want y'all to see that. And so y'all will have a bigger picture appreciation on why the South suburbs matter. That's our stable blacks that left Chicago, them partnering with us to get sponsors to make these Gary conventions real. Part of that sponsorship is paying for our people to get up here on Amtrak Greyhound every single weekend, different group coming to check us out with the conventions. All right, so that's it. We're going to take a 3-minute break, not the whole 5 minutes, and we're going to come back and get on safety and young people. All right, thank you.